Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today, I will be talking about a topic that fascinates me tremendously, and that topic would be the exponential rise of the K-pop music genre. It seems like it just exploded out of nowhere, and something that became so mainstream so fast to not only one country, but the whole world, was enough to make me really curious enough to do all the research needed for this video. I'm going to be dividing this video into 3 parts. The first part will be about the history shaping the formation of K-pop before it even existed. The second part will be the beginnings and the rise of K-pop and Korean music in general. And the third part will be about modern K-pop, which will be the longest part, and I will also include a few different groups that I will be talking about that I think contributed to the modern development of K-pop. Anyways, without further ado, make sure to sit back, grab a drink, and grab some good food because this is going to be a long one. We're going to start with a little history lesson for any of you nerds out there. I know myself, I really enjoy history. I didn't enjoy history as much in school just because it was history I didn't care too much about. But when you can actually choose the history that you want to research, it makes it a lot more enjoyable and actually really interesting. So let's get into it. So I'm also not Korean, so please excuse my god-awful pronunciation throughout this video, but I'm going to be trying my best as always, so let's begin. In 1392, General Yi Seong-gi established the Joseon dynasty, which ended up lasting from 1392 to 1897, after a coup that overthrew the Goryeo dynasty in 1388. King Sejong the Great, who was in power from 1418 to 1450, implemented numerous administrative, social, scientific, and economic reforms, and also established royal authority in the early years of the dynasty, and also, most notably, personally created Hangul, which is the Korean alphabet, which is used in the language that we know today. After enjoying a period of peace for nearly 2 centuries, Korea faced foreign invasions and internal factional disagreement from 1592 to 1637. Most notable of these invasions is the Japanese invasions of Korea, which marked the end of the Joseon dynasty's early period. The combined force of the Ming dynasty of China and the Joseon dynasty was able to repel these Japanese invasions, but at a large cost to the countries. Korea gradually became more and more isolationist and stagnant, and by the mid-1800s, with the country unwilling to modernize, and also under the pressure of European powers, Korea was forced to sign a lot of unequal treaties with foreign powers, granting them more power in the Korean country than they had elsewhere. After the assassination of Empress Myeongsong in 1895, the Donghak Peasant Revolution, and the Gabo reforms of 1894 to 1896, the Korean Empire came into existence from 1897 to 1910, so very, very short-lived, but we'll see why in a second, heralding a brief but rapid period of social reform and modernization which occurred during this period from 1897 to 1910. However, in 1905, the Korean Empire was forced to sign a protectorate treaty, and eventually in 1910, Japan annexed the Korean Empire, and Korea officially became a Japanese colony in 1910. Before I cover this next part, I do want to clarify that these are historical events that did happen and are just simply a part of history, and so history can be demeaning and violent, which is what happened in this case. So there's nothing against Japan in this video. I'm just stating what happened throughout history. Anyways, during the time that Japan did occupy Korea, Korea basically lost its identity because everything it built up seemed to have disappeared since Japan controlled it now, and Japan implemented its own country's practices into Korea. So the schools, they were teaching Japanese. The Korean language wasn't being taught in the schools during this time period. And Japan had lots of other cases of mistreatment of Korea, which lasted until 1945, as we all know, when Japan was forced to surrender in World War II after the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki from the United States. After the end of World War II in 1945, the Allies divided Korea into a northern area protected by the Soviet Union and a southern area protected primarily by the United States, but other democratic powers as well. And in 1948, when the powers failed to agree on the formation of a single government, this partition became the modern states of North and South Korea. The peninsula was divided at the 38th parallel, where the Republic of Korea was created in the south with the backing of the United States and most of Western Europe, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was formed in the north with the backing of the Soviets and the Communist People's Republic of China. The new leader of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, launched the Korean War in 1950 in an attempt to reunify the country under communist rule. And after immense material and human destruction, the conflict ended with a ceasefire in 1953, and both countries ended up staying separated. Now, if I did want to make this video even longer, then I would also talk about North Korea here, but unless you count Red Velvet's performance in North Korea, which, I mean, was a banger to be fair, but also probably made all of the Red Velvet members shit bricks the size of elephants, then North Korea isn't really relevant in any other context of this video. If you do happen to be interested in a North Korea history video, I'm sure there are plenty you can find on YouTube. I don't know, maybe I might end up making one, who knows. Regardless, South Korea started slowly building back after its liberation from after both World War II and the Korean War, beginning with Syngman-rhee in 1948, a series of autocratic governments that took power in South Korea with American support and influence. With the coup of the third president of South Korea, Park Chung-hee, in 1961, a new economic policy began in order to promote economic development, and a policy of export-oriented industrialization was applied. President Park developed the South Korean economy through a series of highly successful 5-year plans, and South Korea's economic development was spearheaded by the Chaebol, which are huge family business conglomerates such as Samsung, Hyundai, SK Group, and LG Corporation. The Chaebol received state backing via tax breaks and cheap loans, and took advantage of South Korea's inexpensive labor to produce exportable products. The government made education a very high priority at this time to create a well-educated population capable of productively contributing to the economy after so many years of just war and injustice happening in the country. So despite occasional political instability, the Korean economy subsequently saw enormous growth for nearly 40 years in a period known as the Miracle on the Han River. The unparalleled economic miracle brought South Korea from one of the poorest states in the world after the Korean War into an actual fully developed country within a generation, which is just crazy to think about. Like, even just doing research for this video, South Korea is like really new, guys. I'm sure like probably most of you knew that, but like it's crazy how South Korea and North Korea just, they're recent. Like this was like in our grandparents' lifetime and stuff like that. You know, depending on how old you were, but this is like only a few generations ago that all of this happened. So it's crazy how new it is. But anyways, little did South Korea know at the time that they would change the entire music industry in the next few decades. In South Korea in the 1980s, a period known as the ballad era began as we saw the rise of ballad singers after Lee Kwang-jo's 1985 album, You Were Too Far Away to Get Close To, which sold more than 300,000 copies. Ballad is a style of music in South Korea and a genre in which soul and rhythm and blues music is transformed to suit Korean sentiment. The Asia Music Forum, which was launched in 1980 with representatives from 5 different Asian countries competing in the event, and Korean singer Cho Young-pil won first place and went on to have a successful career performing in also Hong Kong and Japan. His first album, Changbakui Yeoja, was a hit, and he became the first Korean singer to take to the stage at Carnegie Hall in New York. Cho's musical repertoire included rock, dance, trot, and folk pop, and despite his early association with rock music as an electric guitarist in a rock band, Cho Young-pil's initial popularity came from his trot songs, which were popular in both South Korea and Japan. For example, in 1976, his trot song Please Return to Busan Port was a big hit, and despite the temporary setback due to his involvement in a little bit of a marijuana incident in 1977, he managed to bounce back with the song The Woman Outside the Window, which reached a record-breaking sales of 1 million in 1980. In 1988, he sang Soul, Soul, Soul in 3 languages, Korean, English, and Japanese, to celebrate the 1988 Seoul Olympic Games. In the 1997, K-pop has spawned an entire industry encompassing music production houses, event management companies, music distributors, and other merchandise and service providers. And the 3 biggest companies in terms of sales and revenue are the 3 companies that I just mentioned, which include SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, and JYP Entertainment, often referred to as the Big 3 in K-pop, not to be mistaken with the Big 3 of anime, which are One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. But these record labels also function as representative agencies for their artists, so they basically take the brand of the agency while performing. They're responsible for recruiting, financing, training, and marketing new artists, as well as managing all their musical activities and public relations. Currently, the agency with the greatest market share is SM Entertainment, and in 2011, together with Star J Entertainment, AM Entertainment, and Key East, the Big 3 companies founded the joint management company United Asia Management. The huge popularity of So Taiji and Boys among teenagers shifted the focus of the Korean music industry to teen-centered pop music, and idol bands of young boys or girls were formed to cater to a growing teenage audience. HOT, or HOT, was one of the first idol boy bands debuting in 1996 after a rigorous training encompassing not only singing and dancing skills, but also etiquette, attitude, language, and the ability to deal with the media in order to be as appealable as possible. Their song Candy presented a softer and gentler form of pop music with upbeat and also cheerful melodies accompanied by energetic dance steps, which was a formula adopted by many subsequent idol groups as well. The group was hugely successful, with fans copying the group members' hairstyles and fashion even, and merchandise also affiliated with the group, ranging from candy to perfume, were sold, making the market even bigger for idol groups. Their success was followed by that of young male and female idol groups like Sex Keys, SES, Fin KL, NRG, Baby Vox, Diva, Shinhwa, and God or God, which also became really popular among the younger generation. During the late 1990s, talent agencies began to market K-pop stars by implementing an idol business model, by taking inspiration from the idol business models used in Japanese pop, where talents are selected and trained to appeal to a global audience through formal lessons or through residency programs. And the extensive and intensive process includes physical training, language training, and potential talents are also selected for height, being much taller on average than their Japanese counterparts. Sociology professor Ingyu Oh has explained regarding looks that K-pop emphasizes thin, tall, and feminine looks with adolescent or sometimes very cute facial expressions, regardless of whether they're male or female singers. And I mean, as the audience, we can also clearly see that. So over time, Korean American artists have also become really successful due to the presence of English and fluency in English, because these efforts increase the marketability of K-pop while also increasing South Korean soft power, which has become an important part of official policy, actually. Idols that learn English have an advantage. So the 1990s saw a reactionary movement against mainstream popular culture with the rise of illegal underground music clubs and punk rock bands such as Crying Nut. The 1997 Asian financial crisis not only prompted South Korean entertainers to look for new markets, with Hot releasing a Mandarin language album and Diva releasing an English language album in Taiwan, but also prompted South Korea's leaders to focus on building the nation's cultural influence through music, because the government poured millions into building infrastructure, technology, and even a specific department within its Ministry of Culture just for K-pop. Regulations were passed on karaoke bars, for example, to protect the interests of idols. K-pop's increasing popularity forms are a huge part of the Korean wave phenomenon, which in simple terms is just the increasing popularity of South Korean culture in other countries. And K-pop is increasingly making appearances on Western charts such as Billboard, and the development of online social media has been a vital tool for the Korean music industry in reaching a wider audience. As part of the Korean wave, K-pop has been embraced by the South Korean government as a tool for projecting South Korea's soft power abroad, and particularly towards overseas youth. By the beginning of the 21st century, the K-pop market had slumped, and early K-pop idol groups that had seen success in the 90s were on the decline. Hot disbanded in 2001, while other groups like Sex Keys, SES, FinKale, Shinhwa, and God all became inactive by the year 2005. However, solo singers like BOA and Rain still did grow in success. We wouldn't know how influential he was at the time, but I think it's worth mentioning at this part that the legendary singer, performer, artist, Gangnam Styler, Psy, would also make his debut in 2001, and the success of the boy band TVXQ after its debut in 2003 marked sort of a resurgence of idol groups to Korean entertainment and the growth of K-pop as part of this Korean wave movement. During the 2000s, K-pop idols began receiving success elsewhere in Asia. In 2002, Baby Vox's single Coincidence became popular in many Asian countries after it was released, and was even promoted during the World Cup in South Korea. BOA became the first K-pop singer to reach #1 on the Japanese Oricon music chart, and shortly after, Rain had a sold-out concert to an audience of 40,000 fans in Beijing. In 2003, Baby Vox topped the Chinese music charts with their Chinese single, I'm Still Loving You, from their third album, Devotion, the first idol group to do so, creating a huge fan base in China. They also charted in various music charts in Thailand, and TVXQ marked a huge rise of K-pop boy bands in Japan as well. In 2008, their single Purple Line made them the first foreign boy band and second Korean artist after BOA to top the Japanese Oricon music chart. If we consider all the groups before now to be like the founding fathers of K-pop, these new groups would be like the pioneers of K-pop. I'd consider the most notable of these groups in this new generation to be SS501 and Super Junior, who debuted in 2005, Big Bang, who debuted in 2006, Wonder Girls, Girls' Generation, and Kara, who debuted in 2007, Shine, who debuted in 2008, 2NE1, 4 Minutes, Tara, FFX, and After School, who debuted in 2009, and last but not least, probably the most important group to ever come into existence, BTS, which was formed in 2010, starting with the first member, Kim Namjoon, or known more commonly as RM, but BTS wouldn't end up debuting until 2013. Since the mid-2000s, a huge portion of the East Asian music market has been dominated by K-pop, And in 2008, South Korea's cultural exports, including TV dramas and computer games, rose to $2 billion, maintaining an annual growth rate of over 10%. That year, Japan accounted for almost 68% of all of the K-pop export revenues, ahead of China, which had 11.2%, and the US, which had 2.1%. The sale of concert tickets proved to be a lucrative business. TVXQ's Tohoshinki live tour in Japan sold over 850,000 tickets at an average cost of $109, generating a total of $92.6 million. Moving into the 2010s is the time where we see the insane rapid growth in success in the K-pop genre. The main event triggering this explosion would just have to go to Gangnam Style. Psy's Gangnam Style music video was the first YouTube video to reach 1 billion views, achieving widespread coverage in mainstream media. And as of July 2023, the video has over 4.8 billion views. I would argue that Gangnam Style is probably the most influential song in all of K-pop due to its pure innovation for the time that triggered a chain reaction of numerous other K-pop singers to build off of. And Gangnam Style is just probably one of the most genius song ideas that I can even think of. And I don't think I will ever forget the song. It is just so easy to remember because Psy just had the craziest music video ever. He had really over-the-top visuals, a catchy beat, a funny but easy dance that anyone could do. I mean, the dude's like in Fortnite now. It's crazy. He's still going strong. I actually love Psy so much. It's so funny how he's just such a good artist and influential artist. And it's very impressive. He was very ahead of his time for what he created at the time. And he deserves all the success in the world. Because I consider him to be just one of the K-pop founding fathers for just being so early to the scene. In the 2000s, there were several failed attempts that have been made by entertainment companies to break into the Western market overseas, mainly with the groups BOA, Wonder Girls, Girls' Generation, and CL. But I wouldn't say K-pop officially made its mark on the Western world until Gangnam Style was released. And also, the first group I will talk about, the rise of BTS. BTS was able to defy all odds, as I consider BTS to be the ones that were truly the first group to break into the Western market, because BTS won Top Social Artist at the 2017 Billboard Music Awards, making them the first K-pop group to win a BBMA. And their performance of DNA at the American Music Awards was the first AMA performance by a K-pop group, which also led the song to peak at number 67 on the Billboard Hot 100. The following year, BTS became the first K-pop group to reach number 1 on the Billboard 200 with the album Love Yourself Tear. This is barely the tip of the iceberg for BTS, but they are still making music to this day and have way too many achievements to possibly cover in this video, which is why I will probably end up making a separate video just on the history of BTS. And as recently as last year, Jungkook sang the theme for the 2022 Qatar World Cup with his song Dreamers, which is quite possibly one of the biggest accomplishments we have seen in the whole industry. If you couldn't tell already, I may like BTS just a little bit. I promise I'm not crazy. But in all seriousness, so many other groups were able to build off of BTS, and the K-pop industry ignited like a flame all across the United States and the rest of the world past the Gangnam Style era into the later 2010s. So now at this point in the video, there are so many groups to cover that I just simply won't be able to feature them all. But to end the video, I'm going to be going over what I think are the biggest influences in the genre throughout the mid 2010s to about the present day, and I mean covering for the future too. There are groups that are probably going to be prevalent in the future. Well, obviously will be prevalent in the future that haven't debuted yet. So I just simply can't speculate on that, but I'm just going to go over a few of the groups that I want to mention because they are just huge in the industry. This is probably the biggest no-brainer for groups that I was going to include for the modern category of K-pop, and for good reason, due to them quite possibly being the biggest or second biggest K-pop group, second to BTS. I'm not sure, but you already know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about none other than Blackpink. Who doesn't like Blackpink? I mean, Blackpink is just so good, man. But Blackpink debuted in August 2016 under YG Entertainment with their album Square One with the songs Whistle and Boombaya. These two songs were both #1 entries on South Korea's Gaon digital chart and the US Billboard World Digital Song Sales chart, respectively. Blackpink is the biggest girl group in the world and also the most successful Korean girl group internationally. They are the highest charting female Korean act on the US Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 13 with Ice Cream featuring Selena Gomez, which was in 2020, and on the Billboard 200 peaking at number 1 with their second studio album, Born Pink, which was in 2022, which is also the best-selling album of all time by a female act in South Korea, and the first to sell over 2 million copies. Blackpink was the first girl group to top the Billboard Artist 100 and the first Korean girl group to enter and top the Billboard Emerging Artists chart. Blackpink also became the first female Korean act to receive a certification from the Recording Industry Association of America, or the RIAA, with their single Doo 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 in 2018. It's funny saying that song, but anyways, their 2018 song Kiss and Make Up, a collaboration with Dua Lipa, was the first by a Korean group to receive a certification from the British Phonographic Industry, or the BPI, and also a platinum certification from the Australian Recording Industry Association, or the ARIA. Blackpink's debut studio album, which is called just The Album, in 2020, became the best-selling album of all time by a Korean girl group, and also the highest charting female Korean album on the Billboard 200 at number 2. And these records both surpassed by Born Pink. Born Pink was the first album by a girl group to reach number 1 on the Billboard 2000 since Danity Kane in 2008, and also set 2 Guinness World Records as the first album by a Korean girl group to top the Billboard 200, as well as the UK albums chart. The album's lead single, Pink Venom, was the first song by a Korean group to top the ARIA singles chart, and the first song by a girl group to top the Billboard Global 200. Blackpink has broken numerous online records throughout their career. Their music video for Doo 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 was the first by a Korean group to surpass 1 billion views, as well as 2 billion, and is currently the most viewed video by a Korean group on YouTube. Psy is an individual artist, so we don't count it in this category, so that's just a disclaimer. Blackpink's music videos for Kill This Love in 2019, How You Like That in 2020, both each set records for the most viewed music video within the first 24 hours of release, with the latter breaking 3 and setting 2 Guinness World Records. They're the most subscribed music artist and own the most viewed music channel on YouTube, and are the most followed and most streamed girl group on Spotify. So nothing to mess around with here. Incredible achievements, and their other accolades include the New Artist of the Year Award at the Golden Disc Awards and Seoul Music Awards, the MAMA Award for Best Female Group in 2020 and 2022, the first MTV Video Music Award won by a Korean girl group, and the first Brit Award nomination for a Korean girl group, and recognition as the first female Korean group on Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia, as well as Time's 2022 Entertainer of the Year. They have been acknowledged as one of the most powerful celebrities in South Korea by Forbes Korea, placing first in 2019, third in 2022, and second in 2021, and by former South Korean President Moon Jae-in as a global K-pop phenomenon, helping spread K-pop content worldwide. The next group I want to talk about has a really unique spin on the genre, and before researching for this video, I've heard of them, but I didn't actually listen to much of their music. However, researching, I can safely say that changed. I added some of their songs to my playlist, so we're all set now. That's something I really enjoyed researching, is I found so much good music looking through all the sources for this video. So I'm just able to listen to more songs now, more new songs. So it's a win-win. After looking up what are the most influential K-pop groups online, this one seemed to stand out more than some of the others I think about. And this group is none other than EXO. EXO is a really unique K-pop group because the group was originally comprised with 12 members separated into EXO-K, which stands for the Korean line, the K in EXO-K. So the members of EXO-K were Suho, Baekhyun, Chanyeol, Do, Kai, and Sehun, and EXO-M, which the M in EXO-M stands for Mandarin, which was the Chinese line, originally debuted with Xiumin, Lei, Chen, Chris, Luhan, and Tao. However, members Chris, Luhan, and Tao did end up departing from the group individually due to legal battles with SM Entertainment in 2014 and 2015. EXO-K and EXO-M performed music in Korean and Mandarin respectively, which was just revolutionary at the time, until the release of their third EP, Overdose, in 2014. And since then, EXO have exclusively performed as one group, although their music continues to feature multiple languages. Members Chen, Baekhyun, and Xiumin debuted in the subunit EXO CBX in 2016, and members Sehun and Chanyeol began promoting as the subunit EXO SC in 2019. Each member also maintains solo careers in music, film, and television. EXO's first studio album, XOXO, in 2013, released alongside their breakthrough single Growl, was received positively by critics and sold over 1 million copies, making EXO the first Korean act to do so in 12 years. The group's later works expanded on their early commercial success, with their subsequent Korean studio albums each selling over 1 million copies. EXO's sixth studio album, Don't Mess Up My Tempo, in 2018, became their highest charting album on the US Billboard 200, debuting at number 23, and also their best-selling album in South Korea, where it sold over 1.9 million copies. EXO have won numerous awards, including 5 consecutive Album of the Year awards at the Mnet Asian Music Awards and 2 consecutive Artist of the Year awards at the Melon Music Awards, and have performed over 100 concerts across 4 headlining tours and multiple joint tours. The group ranked as one of the top 5 most influential celebrities on the Forbes Korea Power Celebrity list from 2014 all the way to 2018, and have been labeled the kings of K-pop and the biggest boy band in the world by various media outlets. Outside of music, the group members have endorsed brands such as Nature Republic and Samsung, and also participate in philanthropy events such as Smile for You and an ongoing project by SM Entertainment and UNICEF that began in 2015. So great job, EXO. We appreciate all your hard work and accomplishments you have made in the industry, and also just the fantastic music that you guys make. Next up on artists I want to mention, this is another unique one that I have heard of, but am also pretty unfamiliar with. They've made unbelievable outreach all across Asia and the whole world with just the sheer size of the group. The 20-member boy group I'm talking about is none other than NCT. NCT, which is just an abbreviation for Neo Culture Technology, is a South Korean boy band formed and managed by SM Entertainment, introduced in January 2016. The group currently consists of 20 members and is divided into 5 different subunits, which are NCT-U, NCT 127, NCT Dream, Wavy, and recently NCT Dojejong. They are notable for their versatility in music, vocal and rap abilities, and powerful performances, and have been cited as K-pop's most experimental boy band due to their concept of having limitless members. As of May 2023, NCT has recorded more than 28 million album sales across all of the subunits, making them the best-selling act under SM Entertainment and one of the best-selling K-pop artists of all time. I think this could be contributed just because of the outreach they have, singing in different languages and just having so many members. The group debuted their first subunit, the rotational NCT U, on April 9th, 2016, with the double digital single, The Seventh Sense and Without You. It was followed by the Seoul-based subunit NCT 127 on July 7th, 2016, with their eponymous extended play, and the then teenaged subunit NCT Dream on August 24th, 2016, with the digital single Chewing Gum. Wavy, a 7-member subunit based in China and NCT's first overseas subunit, debuted on January 17th, 2019 with their single album The Vision, and on April 17th, 2023, a new subunit featuring members Doyoung, Jaeyoon, and Jungwoo debuted as NCT Dojejong with the EP Perfume. NCT's next overseas unit, which is tentatively known as NCT Tokyo, is set to debut in the third quarter of 2023 as their final overseas subunit. Although each subunit promotes separately, NCT has united 3 times as a group to record 3 full-length albums, which are Empathy, which was in 2018, Resonance in 2020, and Universe in 2021. Within 2 months of release, Resonance sold over 2.6 million copies across its 2 parts, becoming the highest-selling physical album released by an act from SM Entertainment at the time, and earning the group their first Daesang, which is a grand prize award at the 2020 Asia Artist Awards. Universe, which was released in December 2021, became their most pre-ordered album at 1.7 million copies, and later surpassed 1.8 million sales after its release. NCT's resume speaks for itself. You know that they are some of the best in the game and release bangers only. Well done, NCT. You've cemented yourself as one of the best modern K-pop groups in this video, and for good reason too. This final group has definitely made the biggest impact to me personally, as it's easily my favorite K-pop group of all time. I don't think this group has necessarily done anything like revolutionary as far as breakthroughs go, as everything was kind of done by the time they were introduced, but the sheer talent, popularity, and longevity that this group exhibits is enough for me to want to cover them in this video. Also because they're just my personal favorite group. There is not a single song I've listened to that I thought was bad. Consistent bangers across the board, the most loyal fan base in the industry, the concert I just went to, 1 in a million. I'm talking about the queens themselves, Twice. Twice is a South Korean girl group formed by JYP Entertainment. The group is composed of 9 members: Nayeon, Jungyeon, Momo, Sana, Jio, Mina, Dayeon, Chaeyoung, and Tsui. Twice was formed under the TV program 16 in 2015 and debuted on October 20th, 2015 with the EP The Story Begins. Twice rose to domestic fame in 2016 with Cheer Up, which charted at #1 on the Gaon digital chart and became the best performing single of the year and won Song of the Year at the Melon Music Awards and Mnet Asian Music Awards. Their next single, TT, from their third EP, Twice Coaster Lane 1, topped the Gaon charts for 4 consecutive weeks, and the EP was the highest-selling Korean girl group album of 2016. Within 19 months after debut, Twice had already sold over 1.2 million units of their 4 EPs and special album. As of December 2020, The group has sold over 15 million albums cumulatively in South Korea and Japan. The group debuted in Japan on June 28th, 2017 under Warner Music Japan with the release of a compilation album titled #Twice. The album charted at number 2 on the Oricon albums chart with the highest first week album sales by a K-pop artist in Japan in 2 years. It was followed by the release of Twice's first original Japanese single titled One More Time in October. Twice became the first Korean girl group to earn a platinum certification from the Recording Industry Association of Japan, or the RIAJ, for both an album and CD single in the same year. Twice ranked 3rd in the top artist category of Billboard Japan's 2017 year-end rankings, and in 2019, they became the first Korean girl group to embark on a Japanese dome tour. Twice is the first female Korean act to simultaneously top Billboard's World Albums and World Digital Song Sales charts with the release of their first studio album, Twice-togram, and its lead song, Likey, in 2017. With the release of the single, Feel Special, in 2019, Twice became the 3rd female Korean act to chart into the Canadian Hot 100 after signing with Republic Records for American promotions as part of a partnership with JYP Entertainment. The group has charted into the US Billboard 200 with More and More and Eyes Wide Open in 2020, and Taste of Love and Formula of Love in 2021, and Between 1 and 2 in 2022. Their first official English single, The Feels, became their first song to enter the US Billboard Hot 100 and the UK Singles Chart, peaking at 83 and 80 in the positions of the chart, respectively. They've been dubbed the next Nations girl group, and their point choreography, including for Cheer Up, TT, Signal, and What Is Love, became dance crazes and viral memes imitated by many celebrities. Further than that, their presence on TikTok is insane. You see a Twice dance like every 2 posts, so it's crazy. But Twice made me realize how amazing K-pop could be, and I'm so glad that I was introduced to this genre, because really it's all I listen to anymore, which is crazy to say. Something is just so appealing about the combination of dancing, visuals, and amazing vocals that make me so happy and give me the biggest dopamine rush when I'm listening. And I'm sure most of you watching this video can relate if you've made it this far due to just our similar interest in the topic. And I can really only see the genre of K-pop getting even bigger from here on out. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching and sticking through with this video, because this was a long one and I plan on making more video essays before my summer break ends, and then we'll see what happens as far as videos go for when my semester starts, but I will still be uploading regardless though. Until next time.